Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create this super simple, super easy, and super quick makeup look for back to school. But it is also appropriate for everyday wear and work and whatnot. And I know I've done similar looks like this one here on my channel with, you know, just a brown shadow or bronzer in the crease, really clean skin, and lipstick on my teeth. And a light nude lip, but I wanted to redo it using all drugstore affordable products for those of you who are still in high school and maybe can't afford the high-end stuff, because I know when I was in high school, all I could afford was drugstore makeup, and not even that much. Like, I really had like no makeup growing up, and I don't think I even purchased anything from Sephora or MAC until I was in college. Back in high school, I would just save my lunch money and then go shopping later. So if you guys are interested and want to see how I create this look, keep on watching. So I went ahead and put my hair up and away in a ponytail. I seriously don't think I can record a tutorial with my hair down until summer is over, because you guys, this weather, I can't handle it anymore. I'm so ready for fall, and I'm this close to chopping all my hair off. For reals. So I'm gonna start off by prepping my skin. I would have used a drugstore moisturizer. However, I find that all drugstore moisturizers contain fragrance, and it really irritates me. I really do not like the scent of a floral fragrance in my face moisturizers. It's unfortunate that a lot of them do that. So instead, I'm gonna be using a Clinique moisturizer, which back when I used to work at a MAC counter inside Nordstrom, whenever someone came up to me with their teenage daughter and they were asking for skincare recommendations, I would always take them to Clinique, just because I find that their ingredients are very friendly, and it's just a great brand to start using if you're new to skincare. So I'm gonna be using the Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizing Lotion, and I'm gonna apply this all over, including under my eyes, because the bottle, I did not mean to use that much. I wish that had a pump. It doesn't have a pump. I'm also gonna apply this under my eyes because it doesn't specifically say on the bottle that I can't, so I'm gonna use this under my eyes as well. Let me put a little extra on my arms. I'm assuming you're gonna be out and about all day long, so you're gonna wanna include an SPF. I'm gonna be using the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Liquid Sunscreen with an SPF of 70. Because this look is gonna be so simple, I'm gonna start off with the skin first. If the eyes were really dramatic, I would start with the eyes first, but we're not doing any of that today. So I'm gonna start by priming my skin using the Rimmel Lasting Finish Primer. I wore this the other day when I was testing out all the drugstore products that I wanted to use in this video, and it really made my makeup last, and I really, really like it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this all over. I also feel like it gives a really nice sheen, like an iridescent sheen to my skin, which is really nice. And I don't know what it is about drugstore tinted moisturizers, but the color is always really, really off. So I tried the Burt's Bees BB Cream in shade Light Medium, showed up gray. I tried the Rimmel BB Cream in shade Medium, showed up gray. And I also tried the Physicians Formula Super BB in shade Light, and it showed up gray. So I don't know what it is about the color range in tinted moisturizers. I think it's because there's not that many options like there is in a foundation. They usually do light, medium, dark, and for some reason they all show up super gray on me and they make me look like I'm dead. So not gonna use any of those. Instead, I'm gonna be using a foundation that is really lightweight. So I'm gonna be using the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Cushion Foundation. And if you go really light-handed with this product, it's like a tinted moisturizer. It's not that heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this with this little beauty sponge I got at Ulta. This came in a 2-pack. It was 2 for like $4 or $5. And this foundation does come with a sponge applicator, but I seem to have lost mine, so I'm gonna use the sponge. So you can see the finish is really light, really beautiful. I absolutely love this foundation. So next I'm gonna be going in with concealer, and I'm not gonna be doing any highlighting or contouring. I find that for me, it's like a little extreme if it's just for day wear. However, I do want to give you guys the option in case you do love to highlight and contour. So I'm just going to be using my Maybelline Fit Me concealer to brighten underneath the eyes. I'm going to do that little upside down triangle to highlight. But if you guys like a cream contour and highlight, I highly recommend these concealer and contour duos from NYX. They're called the NYX Sculpt and Highlight Face Duo. And now I'm kind of debating whether I want to use the NYX concealer or the Maybelline concealer. You know what? I'm just gonna use the NYX concealer because I feel like the Maybelline concealer ends up in a lot of videos. So let's use just the concealer on the NYX Sculpt and Highlight Duo. Ooh, that is very light. But this is a great way to look awake and alive and refreshed. So use a lighter concealer just underneath the eye area. You don't need to do the whole shebang and conceal and or highlight and contour. And then I'm again taking that beauty sponge from Ulta and blending this out underneath my eyes. Make sure you get the inner corner to really brighten up the eye area. And actually, I'm gonna use that Maybelline concealer just to cover up this pimple on my face because this is closer to my skin tone, whereas the next one was really, really light. So I'm just gonna put that on that blemish and just pat it back in. Now you're gonna wanna set everything with powder for it to last all day long. And if you follow me on Snapchat, you saw me debating over which powder to use because I've been trying out a ton of different drugstore powders. And I wasn't able to get the airspun powder that you guys all recommended. There are like no Walmarts in the LA area that I'm in, so it was really hard to find or get it online in time for this video. So I'm gonna be using my trusted Maybelline Shine Free Loose Powder. I love this powder, however, in the highlighted areas, it always translates a little dark. So for just underneath the eyes, I'm gonna be using my RCMA No Color Powder. I didn't wanna use this because it's not technically drugstore, however, it is extremely affordable. So I'm only gonna use this under my eyes and I'm gonna use the Maybelline one everywhere else. Plus the Maybelline one does give a little extra coverage, which is really nice. If you find that a tinted moisturizer or this foundation's too light for you, this one adds a little more color. So I'm gonna take the RCMA powder and just use that to set right underneath. So I maintain that highlight, you know, so it doesn't make it darker. And I just accidentally dipped my sponge into the Maybelline powder anyway. So you can see this side has the Maybelline powder, this has the RCMA. So you can see I lost the highlight on this eye. So you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and apply the Maybelline powder to this eye on top of the RCMA powder to make it look even. It doesn't look bad, it's just not as highlighted, you know? And honestly, I like the way the Maybelline powder looks better on my skin. For some reason, the RCMA powder, I don't know, it doesn't look as good as other powders on my skin. I actually like the way the Maybelline powder looks more than this powder. Whenever I use the RCMA powder, I feel like I have to use a setting spray or a hydrating mist afterwards in order to tone down the way it looks on my skin. So just an FYI about this product. It doesn't really work for me, but it might work for you. Now I'm gonna add some bronzer to my skin, and technically, for those of you who love contouring, when you add a bronzer to your skin, you are adding dimension. So a bronzer is going to chisel out your face, just not as much as contouring would. So I'm gonna be using the Rimmel Coral Glow Contour Palette, and I'm gonna start off with the bronzer, and I'm just going to apply it like I normally would to the cheeks. It does have a slight shimmer though, so kind of disperse it out a little more versus just on the hollow since it has a shimmer. So now I'm just grabbing a smaller angled brush and I'm gonna apply some bronzer to the sides of the nose to add a little dimension. And then I'm also gonna use the blush and highlight from this palette to complete the rest of the skin. So I'm gonna start off with the highlight first just because I want to over highlight and give the skin an overall luminosity. So I'm just gonna take this and start applying it to the high points, and then I'm gonna add my blush. And now I'm just taking a really large fluffy brush and I'm gonna softly blend in little circular motions across the entire face to make sure everything looks well blended. So that way you can't see where the highlighter, blush, and bronzer all start and end. They all just kind of blend in together. And before I go in to do the eyes, I like to give myself a spritz of a setting spray or a hydrating mist to just make sure everything looks really clean and natural, and then I'll spray myself again at the very end. This works really well with drugstore makeup because I find that drugstore makeup always tends to show up just like a little more than high-end makeup. That's just in my opinion and my experience. So I'm gonna give myself a spritz of the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray, and then I'm gonna work on the eyes. Definitely make sure the setting spray is completely dry before you start going in with any product on the eye, just in case you have fallout, because you don't want it to really stick to the setting spray. That'll be really hard to get rid of. So the setting spray has dried now, so now I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes. I'm using the NYX Proof It waterproof eyeshadow base, and I'm just gonna apply this to the lids, mainly focusing it on the crease. And then I'm gonna blend it out with a brush. I was gonna use my concealer as my eyeshadow base, but I find that that doesn't last as long. It ends up creasing. I really wanted to use an eyeshadow base, so that's why I'm using this one. But if you feel comfortable doing so, you can use your concealer that you use on your face as your primer as well. And then I'm gonna lightly set that primer with a translucent powder. I'm using the same Maybelline powder. And if you guys watched one of my most recent videos on how to get the most pigment out of any eyeshadow, I mentioned that the only time I set the entire lid with powder is when I want the actual lid, meaning like this little space right here, to be light. When I use an eyeshadow that's really pigmented and I want it to be bright and bold, I don't set the entire lid with powder. So just wanted to put that out there so you're not like, wait, didn't she just tell us not to set her entire lid with powder? So just keep that in mind. I'm just gonna go ahead and lightly press this powder across the lids. So it's almost like that translucent powder is gonna act as an eyeshadow as well on the lid to make it really light. So now I'm gonna use that same Rimmel contour palette on the eyes. I'm gonna go in with the bronzer and apply it to my crease, but it is really light, so I'm gonna show you guys how you can darken up the look with a brown eyeshadow. But for now, I'm just gonna apply this and show you guys how this looks on the eyes. So I like to start on this outer portion, the outer V portion of the eye, and then blend it up to the crease. And I'm also applying this to the lower lash line. So you can see that the color on the eyes is really, really light, almost like it's not there, but it's still adding definition to the eyes versus not applying any eyeshadow at all. But I'm gonna show you guys again how you can deepen up the look. I'm gonna use the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. This one's the shade Warm Neutrals. This is also a great palette for you guys if you want to add some variation to your eye looks when going to school versus always doing the same bronzer in the crease or like a light brown in the crease. This is gonna give you a nice warm neutral palette to play with every day so you can switch up your looks. So I'm gonna go in with this mid-toned brown from the palette just to deepen up this look, but I'm gonna stick to applying the shadow to the same area. So with the darker shadow, the eyes look a little more defined and done up, and you can feel free to go as dark or as light as you'd like. So now I'm going back into that contour palette and I'm gonna use the highlight on the inner corners to really, really brighten up the eyes. It's gonna make us look really awake. And then I'm also going to apply it to that blank space right there on the lid. And that is it for the eyes, really quick, really easy. So now I'm gonna fill in my brows with the Maybelline Brow Precise Micro Pencil and add some mascara. And now to complete the look, all we're missing is the lip. I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Color Jolt in the shade Stripped Down. These lip products, you guys, are seriously comparable to the Too Faced melted lipsticks, and these have a staying power. I mean, they are really glossy, but they don't bleed, they don't move. Obviously, if you eat or whatever, they will transfer because they're glossy, but they're just an awesome, awesome product. I really, really love these color jolts, and the best thing about this look is that you can really switch up the lip color, so whatever lip color you're in the mood for that day, you can add something really bright. I was also gonna do this bright purple, but I think I'm gonna stick with the nude for this tutorial. And they're easy to apply too. I just apply them directly from the tube, and that's it. All right guys, that completes this look. It shouldn't take you any longer than 10 minutes to complete this look, maybe even less time than that. It only took me a while to do this tutorial because I had to talk you guys through it, but I promise you it is super easy. So let me know in the comment section below if this is something that you would wear to school or work or just every single day, because it is so easy. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I see you in the next one. Bye guys.